Hey guys, and welcome to another week of Creole. Today I'm out for a walk. This week I'm just doing a little bit of a walk around this neighborhood. Now as I walk around here and look at all these massive houses and seeing their sizes and different colors, you start to wonder, what kind of house would God have? What would he build if he were here on earth? There's a story, well actually there's two stories, one found in Exodus and one found in Leviticus, that talk about how God came down upon Mount Sinai. So he spoke to Moses one day and he told him that he needed to sanctify or purify the people in camp. They had to wash their clothes, they had to completely clean everything for 3 days. He promised that on the third day he would come down into the mountain and the people were going to meet. They were supposed to set up a perimeter around the mountain, make sure that nobody crossed it until they heard the sound of a horn being blown, and that gave him permission to approach the mountain and go up. The idea was that God wanted to meet with everybody at once. The entire nation of Israel was supposed to meet God face to face. And the scripture says that a giant cloud came upon the mountain. It covered the entire thing. The mountain was shaking or vibrating, almost not an earthquake, but it was just like vibrating. There was loud thunders and lightning, and the presence of God was just there. Now the children of Israel gathered together with Moses, and Moses went into the cloud and he started talking with God, and the children of Israel heard God's voice. This is one of the things that God wanted. He wanted the people to know that he was speaking to Moses directly, that he was a real God. He was not a statue or a stone monument. He was a real person speaking with words to Moses, and Moses had God's authority, and everybody freaked out. Everybody was scared, and they didn't go into the mountain. They didn't dare approach God's presence because they were scared of it. They were afraid. So now you got to remember too, at this point their experience with gods was just like the Egyptians' gods. They knew there was a God of their ancestors, but they'd never seen him before. They never heard him. Nobody's ever shown them or shown his presence like that before to them. So they were scared. You know, I don't know how you would feel. Hey, leave a comment below how you would feel if God came down and talked to you. You know, you never heard him before. The point is that they were scared, and they told Moses, no, you go talk to him for us. We'll listen to what you say. We're not going to go up there. He's too scary. He's going to get angry at us, and we don't want to be destroyed by him. So you go ahead, you talk to him, we trust you, and do it. So Moses goes, and it says in the scriptures that he went up for like 40 days and 40 nights. So he's up there, and somehow the cloud was still on the mountain. It was still vibrating. There was still smoke and lightning happening in the mountain, and Israelites forgot that God was there. I don't know how this happened. They just heard God. They saw the evidences that God was there. They knew that Moses was in the mountain, and they forgot about him. How does that happen? So they had Aaron, Moses' brother, to build them a god. Now this really ticked God off. Now in the Sunday school version of events, you know that they destroyed the golden calf, and threw it away, and Moses had to go back upstairs and get brand new 10 commandments. But there's one piece that they don't really notice. But in Leviticus, it says that God got so mad that he actually wanted to destroy the entire kingdom of Israel. He wanted to destroy all of the children of Israel. He actually was going to make Moses, and he gave him the choice to become a nation. He told Moses, get out of the way. Move, Moses. These people are too troublesome. They are just like their ancestors. They never listen. They don't want me. So therefore, I'm going to destroy them all. Get out of the way. I'm going to make a nation out of you. Moses declined. Now that's incredible for somebody. It shows his faithfulness and his understanding of who God was. He basically begged God, and he interceded. It's something we call interceded. He stood in for the people, and he said, no, Lord, don't do this. Don't destroy your people, because your fame is going to be tarnished. People are going to think that you just brought these people out in the desert to destroy them. Don't do this. Please have mercy on them. And then God said, okay, Moses, because you said so, you're right. I'm not going to destroy them, but I'm going to send an angel instead with them, with you guys. You can go from here, go in peace, but I'm not going to go with you. I'm going to send an angel to lead you. And Moses again begged God. He said, God, no, we can't go without you. You have to go with us. He was begging God to lead, and God relented. God basically said, all right, Moses, because you asked this, I'm going to go with you. But this is what is going to happen. I'm going to need you guys to build me a house, a tabernacle, a tent, a place where I'm going to live. And then he spent the next 30 chapters in Exodus outlining exactly how he wanted his tabernacle built. And these scriptures, it says these words 7 times. It mirrors creation. He said these words. God spoke to Moses 7 times. Now, if you parallel that to Genesis 1, God spoke 7 times and he created things. So he's paralleling creation. All right, so it's a parallel. He's bringing it back to the beginning. Now, at creation, God himself said this. He was basically building the place, building the house, building the dwelling, and we were charged with filling it. We were told to go multiply, basically have lots of kids, fill this place, fill this house with your descendants, fill this place, so we can live together. Now, in this instance, though, at the mountain, when God gave all these instructions about the tabernacle, it was God telling man, no, you build the house and I will fill it with me. I will fill it with my presence. And he did. They spent a year and a whole bunch of different things had to be built, but they finally got the ark, the ark and the tabernacle and all the furnishings prepared for God. We're going to talk about specifically what they all mean next week. Once the tabernacle was completed, God came down, and that same smoke and fire and lightning that was on the mountain came and rested over the tabernacle. And whenever God's presence was on it, Moses was supposed to go in and talk to God. And wherever they went, the children of Israel would set up this tabernacle right in the middle of their camp. And the reason that he requested that it was made and put in the middle of their camp was because he wanted the children of Israel to remember that he was at their center, that he was in their midst always. He wasn't going to leave them. He was going to be with them wherever they went. And so he created something that was amazing inside of the tabernacle, and we'll take a look at next week. It was basically a representation of the Garden of Eden again, because it's something that we need to remember, that God's presence lives with us all the time. That his desire, guys, is for us to be with him every day, not just in our church Sunday services, but in every single thing that we do. I want you to imagine this. What would happen if God had decided to come down in a big giant cloud and set himself up in the middle of downtown? You could see him from everywhere. What would you feel like? What would you feel like knowing that you had access to God and all you had to do was go and talk to him if you wanted to? In our daily, we have that opportunity, that access to God's presence that the Israelites never had. Thanks for joining me on my walk today. I hope you guys have an awesome week at Cruise, and we shall see you next week. See ya.